Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be reviewing another Ineos Grenadier because Ineos just released a discount program on these Grenadiers. This discount program does end at the end of August, but I think that after the discounts, the Grenadier is too good to pass up at this point. Like, if you don't buy one with where these are priced at, I don't know. I think you're beyond help at this point. I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, huge shout out and thank you to the Warner Ineos here in West Valley, Utah for giving me some time with this Grenadier so I can make this video. Link to their website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. So quick refresher, the Grenadier is powered by a 3-liter turbo inline 6 that goes through an 8-speed. It puts out 282 horsepower and then 331 pound-feet of torque. This engine could produce way more power, but they've tuned it as such for long-term reliability. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So I picked a Trial Master for this particular review because I think it's the coolest package on the Grenadier with the standard equipment that it comes with. But this deal works for any new Grenadier, which is awesome. This particular one is finished in a really cool green color. It's like this dark forest green, kind of reminds me of British racing green in a way. But if you aren't familiar with the Grenadier, they basically took, well, this is from my personal take, they took an old G-Wagon chassis, threw a bunch of modern parts on it, made it look like an old school Defender, and it just works really well. And the reason why I say old G-Wagon chassis is I've done two comparisons with this against a G-Wagon, and when you look at them side by side and you compare the mechanical stuff side by side, there's too many similarities for me to pass up. But yeah, it looks great. The Trial Master package comes with this raised air intake, and by the way, any of the options you see on this you can add to other Grenadiers because it's an a la carte type vehicle. Anyways, this one also has the alloy wheels. That is a little bit of an extra cost. I'll talk about that a little bit later. We've got all-terrain tires. This comes standard with Bilstein shocks and Eibach springs. Again, really durable mechanical stuff. Really cool look with the fender flares there, and again, it's got that old school kind of like safari off-roader appearance that I think is so sweet to see. And you notice that you've got this to attach stuff like a roof rack up top. You can see more attachment here, and then also on the side as well. There's power up top. There's so much added to this. And then we've got this double door situation in the rear, so that makes it really practical. You can see we've got tons of storage back here. It's also easy to clean out. You can spray it out like a Wrangler. The reason why I say this is practical is you can still open this half door if you have a trailer hooked up because it's so small with the opening. So the only SUV that you can access the hatch while towing a trailer. But yeah, it looks great on the outside. Solid axles front and rear. It's body on frame, like everything you want from an off-roader. And then the space inside is really good. It is high to get up into, but once you're in here, you've got plenty of headroom. You've got vents in the back and everything. I mean, my wife and I use ours as a family car, so that is something to note. And the materials aren't the nicest, but they're really durable feeling and easy to clean. That's the big thing. Now this has the leather seats. That's another option that adds quite a bit of money to the price. And then this is the standard steering wheel, which again, I think is more than enough if you ask me. Again, getting up, you got to step up just a little bit, but yeah, got to stick the key in the ignition, old school style. We'll talk about this during the driving portion, but yeah, everything's here in the center screen, and then you got a bunch of physical controls, and they're really big so that you can use them if you have gloves on. That's something that's really nice. This one has heated seats. That's another little extra with it. We've got a 2-speed transfer case. By the way, it's a Tremec transfer case for those of you that are wondering. And ZF 8-speed auto, but that's why it's got the BMW engine. That's why it has the BMW shifter. And then the Trial Master comes with locking diffs front and rear. And then again, there's a center locker. You can see that right there. So this is, in fact, triple locked from the factory if you get this Trial Master package. And yeah, let's take a look at the pricing. I've reviewed quite a few of these, so I just want to give you a brief overview of the features. So this particular one, you can see 2024. After all options is $84,640. Now, a couple things I want to mention. So if you don't get these seats, which I don't think you have to enjoy the Grenadier, if you get the cloth ones and just add the heated seats are $500. These seats are $2,000. So ditch the seats, you save $2,000 And those fancy wheels I showed you on the outside here, these bad boys, I can't remember how much these are, but I think they're like 500 or $1,000 or something like that. So that'll save you a little bit more. The point that I'm trying to make is if you get rid of those options, then it brings this Grenadier closer to $80,000 for the MSRP. Regardless, the discount on these right now is $5,000. Like I said, it ends at the end of August. But if you just did a base Trial Master, so just heated seats, Trial Master, you're roughly an $80,000 MSRP minus the rebate, mid-70s. And the Grenadier starts at about just over 70 grand. So if you just did a base model Grenadier, like you just wanted to drive one of these, mid-60s for the pricing on that. I mean, that is absolutely insane. And there's a lot of cool colors with the Grenadier. So you've got like the kind of, that's actually the white. You got the silver, and then you can see the tan at the end there. You see the tan next to the white. They're very similar, but also different. You got the blue that I actually got. There's just so many different colors. There's a really cool red as well. I don't know if there's any in the, anyways, let's take it out, let's drive it, and we'll finish things up. Okay. So, let us set off. And by the way, the visibility in these are really good. Obviously, people talk about the back not being great, but guess what? Who cares about seeing behind you? Because, you know, like directly behind you, because frankly, I just use the mirrors. And I've never had, driving mine, I've never had a situation where I'm like, man, I really need more visibility out the back to be able to do something. It's like, everything I need to see is out of both of those mirrors. And by the way, I've got just over 3,000, I'm like 3,500 miles now on mine. Absolutely love it. I'm actually here at the dealership getting some new tires and wheels. Well, new to me tires and wheels. They had a demo Grenadier that I actually reviewed the other week. That had some really cool tires and wheels, and I bought them off of them because I don't like buying new stuff. I like getting hand-me-downs, and so yeah, I'll take the used stuff over the new stuff. That's just kind of how I roll. But the Grenadier, this is the most underrated SUV of the year. There's obviously been quite a few reviews filmed on it, but you know, it's not something. And does this have the favorite set? No, it doesn't. Anyways, I'm not seeing these all over the place quite yet, and it surprises me because when you actually do the research on this vehicle, you look at who built this, the same people that built the G-Wagon, and you look at the mechanical stuff that this has. It's all premium parts. iBox springs, Brembo brakes, Bilstein shocks. It's got, again, Magna's the one who developed the whole platform and everything, and I'm 90% sure this is just an old G-Wagon platform, which is a great platform. You've got the Cara axles, you've got the Tremec transfer case, the engine. People always say, oh, BMW engines are bad. Do your research on the B58. Super reliable, super durable engine. And then the transmission ZF, they make great transmissions. So everything on this car is mechanically is super, super high quality. And that's what I actually want to focus on, because a lot of people make comparisons to, like, you know, they'll say Wrangler or Bronco, and it's with those vehicles, they're not bad, but they don't have nearly as many premium parts. Like, they might have one or two. Like with the Wrangler, here's what I'd say is premium on it. You've got the Dana axles, those are solid. And I mean, Jeep does a good job with their body and frame platform. Like the Wranglers are pretty good for what they are. But that's pretty much it. You've got great axles, and then the rest of the vehicle, it's not bad, but it's not, none of it's premium. Like the shocks are garbage, the springs are okay. And then you look at the Bronco, and it's a similar situation where you've got good shocks. Either the Bilsteins or the Fox shocks in the Broncos, those are great from the factory. The rest of it though, it's not bad, but it's kind of mediocre. Whereas this, it's as if you took a Wrangler or Bronco and spent all the money, and then that's what you get with the Grenadier. It's got all the premium bits that are just great, and you can tell when you drive this thing. This thing drives like an absolute tank. And so I don't see another vehicle that is as cool as this is at the price point that this is at, especially after the discount. $5,000 that's a lot of money. It's not quite in that 10% off of, you know, MSRP range, but I mean, you're still talking about a pretty substantial discount there. Again, getting like a Trial Master you do a base model Trialmaster, so a triple locked SUV for mid 70s, nobody else can really touch that. Like, again, there are other SUVs that have similar capabilities. Like, you know, you can get a Wrangler Rubicon at that price point, but if you wanted to make a Wrangler Rubicon as durable as what this has with the components that it has, well, I can tell you how much it's going to cost. So let's take a regular Wrangler Rubicon. You're going to have to buy new shocks, new springs. You know, it doesn't make sense to change the transfer case. The transfer case in the Jeeps is pretty good. I mean, there's so many things you'd have to change. You'd have to make the chassis just more rigid. That's one of the things that I own a Wrangler 392, and that's like the most rigid Wrangler, and it's just not quite rigid enough. But I mean, at minimum, if you wanted to kind of recreate this in a Wrangler, you're gonna have to spend at minimum $10,000 plus on top of the MSRP price that you already paid for the vehicle. So the way that I see it is that this is the best off-road SUV on the market currently, brand new. It's old school, it's triple locked, it's got premium parts attached to it, and it's not insanely expensive. Like, it is expensive, but it's not more expensive than any of the competition. This is the same price as the new Land Cruiser, the new Lexus GX. It's the same price as a Wrangler, same price as a Bronco, and it's way less than the vehicle that it is actually mirroring, which is a G-Wagon. G-Wagon's now started at $150,000. So when you look at the parts this has and you look at what this is, you see, oh, people look at this as, oh, I'm buying like a knockoff Land Rover Defender, right, for whatever. But the way to actually see it, I would say, is you're getting an off-road G-Wagon, right, an off-road dedicated G-Wagon that doesn't have any of the stupid fancy creature comforts, and you're paying less than half the MSRP. It's, yeah, I think it's a bargain. And I think that to anyone that actually, and there's the red, by the way, the red's really cool. Anyways, to anyone that actually off-roads, this is an absolute no-brainer. And I've owned Broncos, I have a Wrangler still. I haven't owned a G-Wagon, probably never will, but I've owned pretty much every single, I have a Land Cruiser, I've owned every single off-road SUV, and I can just tell you confidently that nothing compares to this when it comes to just how well built it is and how much it can handle. Like, this is, like, whenever I take any of the other vehicles off-road, it's always in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't want to break something. This, you can abuse the absolute crap out of it, and it just handles it. That's all.